with the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge moving to a cottage on the Windsor estate in what's reportedly an attempt to provide their kids a normal as possible an upbringing. They're moving out of Kensington Palace, and much commentary indeed about this humble downsizing. But many have pointed out that the property is still rather sizable and that they retain their other homes. So we're asking, should the royals try to appear normal, or is any attempt to do so bound to backfire? Well, we're joined by a political commentator once more, Emma Webb, and former Sun Royal correspondent Charles Ray. Charles, thank you very much indeed for joining us. In a way, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't, isn't it? You know, we like them to be special, and yet we don't want them to be taking too much state money and so on. But this really is a family trying to get their kids into a normal school?
Well, it's a normal school. It's a fee-paying school, so it's not a normal school in the sense of
comprehensive.
Everybody else has got to go. I mean, they're only following the tradition that Diana set as well for William and Harry. She tried very hard and succeeded, in my view, to give them as normal a life as possible and introduce them to things like McDonald's, visits to cinemas and theme parks, very much the same as normal parents will do. So it's not that unusual. I mean, we're going into a new style of royal family, a much more friendlier and cuddlier royal family, if you like, with certainly William and Catherine, who are really doing away with the sort of protocol part of it. And, it's more than just a handshake. So there's the cuddles, there's the chats, there's the laughter. I mean, I think it's all good for the future.
One of the big differences is, of course, that the children are not going to be going to boarding school. This is a day school. And we do reflect on what Prince Charles has said about his experiences at boarding school and the fact that I think probably, Wills and others have indicated it's perhaps not the easiest thing when you're a royal to turn up at boarding school.
No, it's not. I mean, clearly, if you are a member of the royal family and you turn up and there's various little Johnnies and Freddies around, they're going to see you as a target, and in later years they're going to come up with sort of stories about how they gave the young royal a hard time. But I think that the fact that they've gone to this school, which is very much like William and Harry going to Ludgrove when they were younger, they're having a grounding.
What about the comment that's been about the sort of property portfolio? I think even Richard Kay, who is, of course, very close to the Princess of Wales, saying, well, it's a bit much, yet another property when you've got Kensington Palace, you've got Anmer Hall in Norfolk, and I think they've got a cottage on Balmoral as well, when everyone else is struggling to make ends meet.
They haven't got a cottage on Balmoral. That's actually a commercial property that is actually being rented out. But they have still got Kensington Palace, which is a Crown property. They own Anmer Hall, and they are paying rent on this property because that too is a Crown property. I mean, all members of the royal family have different types of homes, most of which are Crown properties. They own certain properties, like the Queen owns Sandringham, she owns Balmoral, which she inherited from her late father. So it's not a question of, too many homes. Yeah. And I laugh, to be perfectly honest, Mark, when they call about the downsizing to this Adelaide cottage. It's a 4-bedroom practical mansion. Yeah, I mean, it's everything you could possibly want.
And we do, of course, reflect on the Queen's comment at Buckingham Palace of living above the shop, that they don't get the run of the whole place, that, you've got your apartments and so on. But let's bring Emma in on this. Is it important that they are seen as being like the rest of us, or do we actually need the royal family to have some majesty?
I think that's a really important question, because I think there are different aspects to this. On the one hand, I think that William and Kate are right to do what they believe is right for their children. And so, in real terms, making it certain that the future of the royal family do understand the subjects that they will serve in the future. I think that is very important. But in terms of PR, I think it's a real almost deal with the devil to be trying to push this PR campaign of we are just like everyone else, because that is never a PR campaign they're going to be able to win. The royal family are custodians of an institution. They are custodians of the crown. And it's constitutionally important that there is some majesty associated with that crown. And so the concern is that in trying to portray themselves as being like the people, they will be setting themselves up to lose and potentially to actually wreak some havoc on the institution of monarchy. So I think what they should actually be doing is trying to raise as down-to-earth future royals as possible, but not making a PR campaign out of it.
Right.